Howdy folks, I'm Keith Bowen. This is Hard Rock University, and this is my standard panning setup. What we have here are what you might call intermediate concentrates. When I would pan down the concentrates from the concentrator, which I'd call the rough concentrates, I found that I was having too many losses. So I've had to come up with a way where I can efficiently pan a half a bucket of rough concentrates into something a little bit more manageable. And basically what I found is I was having some losses, so instead of panning it down to the heavies, I pan it down, probably 90% reduction or somewhere. I'm just starting to see heavies showing up in the corners. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. And then I wound up with this out of a half a bucket. Now, in order to get fairly clean super concentrates, I've got to take this material here and pan it down further. Reduce it like another 90%. All this stuff has jet dry in it. So now what I'm doing is I'm panning from one pan into another, and you'll see why in a minute. You'll also notice that this pan has an L on it for low grade, but guess what? This ain't low grade. That's because the other pans are inside currently drying concentrates. So I'll take and do the usual agitation and you can start seeing some heavies showing up there. Now this is about the point where now I will stop at the intermediate panning level and move these all into another pan. This is what I'm panning now. And at this point, I'm panning down to heavies, but I'm losing some right now. Now I know that, and I'm just living with that. See all the gold in there? I'm getting this down to a pretty good concentrate. And then I'll move it into another pan. Then I just take this pan out and do it again. Even though the impact mill is classifying, it's not 100% efficient, so I do get the occasional big rock, or what I call a big rock. So, see, we still have quite a bit of heavies in there. Now by doing this, I can be pretty quick and dirty, and in the end, still not get much in the way of losses. You may notice that there's significantly less heavies and gold in there than there was the first run. At least I hope the camera's picking it up. Now when I take this out of there, all those big rocks are gone. Switch it again. Now the idea here, you could do all this really slow and tedious, but my patience is inadequate to the task. So I'd rather do it fast 5 or 6 times and get really good recoveries than do it really, really slow once and probably get even poorer recovery. For whatever reason, you do not get 100% stratification. It doesn't go from heavies to lights in a layer. It blends between. So by doing it this way, I can get pretty close to pure heavies. You'll notice now there's hardly any gold showing up in the corners. They're still visible, but not nearly as much as there was. And just do it again. And then when I'm done, these spent tailings will go into the concentrator again, so any losses that I have will theoretically be recovered again. So it's not actually thrown away. Remember, it's not tailings until it's tailings. And now I'm looking in the corners and seeing I'm getting very little gold and heavies. So basically, the process is complete. There's a little bit of gold and heavies there, but not much. And that means this material here is ready to be moved off to reprocessing. You always miss the pan a little bit. So I'll go ahead, put that in there, send it back to reprocessing too. And there we go. We've taken that, reduced it to that with very little losses in a very short period of time. Now in order to get these down to gold, we're going to do basically the same process. I'll leave that there. Take this, pan it down, concentrate everything in the corner of the pan. You can see the gold here. You can see most of what's on top of the gold is magnetics and therefore easily removed. Take it to this, wash away the stuff that's not clean gold. And it's got a huge amount of gold still in it, but we're cleaning it up. So, after cleaning, we're still going to smelt the heavies, and therefore very little losses. Now we just do that again. And the nice thing is you don't have to go slow or careful with this, because if at each step you get half of what's left, pretty soon there ain't a heck of a lot left, and hell, it's going back in the concentrator anyhow. Take it. I've also found that the coarser stuff, if you hit it like this, will tend to slide on down with the tailings. If you hit it like this at the 12 o'clock, you'll collect the coarser particles. So it's kind of a combination of both. Do one way, do one the other way. There you got a line of gold again. And Jason up there in Flower Gold Wizards, this is basically all you got to do to clean up that stuff from Alaska. It's not that hard. The main thing is it's not very finicky. I'm not real good with finicky. If it's not pretty idiot resistant, then I'm likely to screw it up. So, let's do it again. And I often forget to put this back in here. Same thing. You'll notice how much smaller that gold line was than the last time. So now I'm going to try and get a lot more magnetics out too. Spreading it out quite a bit. And I'm kind of swishing it around. I'm not trying to get the gold clean right now. I'm sticking it on sedge like that and swishing it around to kind of stir everything up into a slurry, and then get the magnetics out of that suspended slurry to minimize the collection of gold in the magnetics. Now let's see what we get this time. As you can see, there's a fair amount of gold there. I'm going to try and concentrate that into a nice line by tipping it that way a little, tapping it here. See how it tends to concentrate it, especially the coarser pieces. Wash away everything else for now. You might be able to tell that's a little bit coarser than the other stuff because of how I was tapping it. That's about what you were getting, Jason. And we'll give it one more shot here and then throw this back in the bucket to go back in the concentrator. And this time we'll focus more on the really fine gold. And to get that, take it here, tap it about the 1 o'clock, and strike it in that direction. Seem to have done a pretty good job cleaning it up at this point. Going to move that to the other side of the 12 o'clock. Pull it up. Send the lighter stuff away. Okay, this can now go back into the feed for the concentrator, or you can take that and furnace it. I'm going to put this in the black pan just so it's a lot easier to see. See how well it tends to stick? Really have to wash it off. The real fine gold has a bit of capillary attraction to the pan. See how it's just sticking here? I have to wash it down. I want to get it past the riffles here so that when I dry it out to remove it from the pan, I don't have to get it around the riffles. Sorry for the lighting, folks, but you deal with what you got. And see how the coarser particles are easier to move than the lighter ones. The lighter ones are still kind of sticking up there. So that's kind of a strange phenomenon, but it's very consistent. Take this heavy stuff and then just tap the coarser ones back up. See how they just immediately start trying to run around on you. There's a couple of rocks there. So, there's some pretty clean gold. Now I'll go ahead and dry that off and take it out of the pan later today. I'll just take that, put it in a little pile. And there you go. Let's see. Pretty clean gold. Let's see if I got everything on the damn video. But there you go. That's how much was just in the losses from that last batch of stuff. Probably a couple tenths of a gram right there. So that's how you clean up your concentrates quickly and efficiently. You do it multiple times roughly instead of one time real persnickety. Happy prospecting and keep it safe out there.